Two-time Hall of Fame inductees, Brent Godarzi and Marty Young. Back-to-back #1 trucking firm in the nation. Back-to-back best attorney and best law firm in East Texas.
Hello, Buckeye Nation. Jeff Rash here with my color commentary and good friend Todd Robinson, and of course, our state championship winning head coach and athletic. That sounded good, didn't it?
It sounded great.
You want to say it again? Our state championship head coach and athletic director, Alan Metzel. Alan, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. It's pretty sweet this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it has, and I'm sure you've had one or two phone calls. Or text.
Yeah.
I think you had 350.
It ended up by yesterday. It went over 500. So,
500,
yeah, which is pretty cool. I was
and
great.
Don't you wonder how many people got your? How do those people have your number?
I don't even care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm all good.
Celebration.
It was fun.
Try to put it into words. How does this feel? I mean, you've been. Let's outline this first. You've been the head coach now for 4 years. Todd and I were just talking about this, and you've been to state 3 times. 75% of the time you've been to the state game with 1 win. So you've got 25% of the time you win the state championship, 75% of the time you're appearing there. If you were to quit now, you would have the best record in all of coaching, I think. But we don't want you to quit.
No, and I'm not ready. Yeah.
So how does it feel?
Amazing. And I was telling you, as we came in, 1 feels way better than 2. I'll just tell you that there's a drastic difference. Not that there weren't learning things and positives that came out of it, but man, this feels way better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, you talked about it all year long. There's been a method to the madness. Kaizen, your entire year was built on this with this group of kids. And obviously,
good group of kids.
Nobody's going to know these kids more than you and these coaches. They're down here literally a third of their lives from 8 straight months are spent down here. And it's not just this year as seniors. This goes all the way back to when you're in the 7th and 8th grade looking forward to this. That process of continuous improvement, especially when things started the way that they did, not only this season, but with this group of guys, being down on the field, I remember after the Pleasant Grove game, me being able to pull, Castillo aside that was obviously put his heart and soul in it and just said, hey, this is the beginning, not the end. And as soon as I walk in the locker room, 2 grabs me and says, hey, you're right. I had to think 5 minutes to think, what did I tell that kid? But they remember every little part of the journey. Talk about that journey.
Well, like you say, it starts when they're in junior high. They envision themselves being in those biggest places and going and playing in Texas or Cowboy Stadium. And, then you start out 0-2, and that challenges you. That challenges that trust. It challenges, can I do it? Can we do it? Are we good enough? And unfortunately, a lot of times there's a lot of peripheral noise that says, no, you can't. And to me, that's when real winners emerge. That's when it gets so real in the field house and in your program. And they chose the motto Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. If there was ever a year that was
prophetic.
It was. Yeah. We had things that needed to grow, to be fixed, to be corrected, to be changed, if you will. I was asked the other night a question of, did you think then that you could end up in this game? And the answer would be yes, I really did. And we even talked about it back then, we can do that. We have some very unique talent on the team, with the speed that we have and some of the different skill things. We just had to get all the components on. We had to become the team, not just players. Yeah. And that's the journey. That's the work. To me, that's the difference in businesses that make it and every year they're at the top of their profession versus they made one item and then they flame out, or one hit wonder in the entertainment industry or whatever. We don't want to be a group that has a great year because you had a really good class came through. Yeah. And then they disappear. We want a program. And these guys exemplified a program this year.
They did. And, Gilmer's told you, I don't think you realize this, and Joe pulls up our stats and does a great job for us. We appreciate his work. but Gilmer is tied with Carthage for the most state appearances in 4A, 9 appearances. And, of course, we've come away with 4 wins now, and that feels good. But Todd and I, we've been talking about this all year. People would, and you and I spoke about it yesterday, people would say, oh, I just don't think they have the defense to get it done, because we're playing these big 4A Division I schools or 5A schools that were some of the best they've ever been.
Right.
Kilgore had their best team. Chapel Hill went all the way to the state game.
Right.
I mean, every team we played, it was like we were playing a state championship level game, which, by the way, is probably what helped us win that one.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So the progress, talking about Kaizen, the progress we saw the defense made, the adjustments Tommy and his team made, the offensive line's improvement.
O-line.
The offensive
Right.
line's improvement.
Right.
From the first game to that game were like 2 different teams. It was unbelievable. And then, of course, we always had the talent in the backfield and the receivers and that kind of thing. But even the special teams game, we struggled in a few.
Yes.
We talked about that a few shows ago. But even that just got better and better.
Exactly.
It's like y'all were peaking at the right time.
Now you got the number 1 kicker in the nation.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second. I didn't realize that until
So cool.
that Braden Pate. How many points was it again? You had
33 points of field goals. He was 10 for 10 on field goals.
Yeah.
He was 97 out of 100 in extra points.
the fact that he missed 3. What a loser, Braden! What an absolute loser. I mean, he's the number 1 scoring kicker in the nation, and that's unbelievable.
It's amazing.
That's amazing. So congratulations to the Pate family and Braden.
And not only that, but he's not our kicker. He is our linebacker that plays kicker.
Yeah, really is.
He contributes more in more places than more that are sometimes
He had some
unseen.
key tackles in that game,
Absolutely.
for example. He did.
Absolutely. And it took everybody.
Sorry, Todd.
And those, when you think about, and we talked to Tommy last week when we were in here, and your coaching staff obviously was up here working, and just hearing Tommy say, well, 18, 19 weeks of defense all gets chunked out the window. And then for the state championship, Tommy made the comment of, it's like having 3 days of class and then the final.
Yeah.
You are going to have to go stop the number 1 team in the state in
Number
terms
1
of
defense,
point scoring.
Yeah.
And number 1
number 1 offense in the state in terms of points.
Yeah,
We
they
were second.
they averaged 52 points a game coming into this game and held their opponents to 7.
Yeah.
I mean, so we were playing a great team, and that's
No
why
doubt.
all the prognosticators picked, all but one, picked them to win over us. So you got to be proud of your coaching staff.
For sure.
How many weeks straight? I was talking to some of the coaches at church today. How many weeks straight have they been here every weekend?
19.
19 straight
Yeah,
weeks.
it was right at 5 months, and I think we had 3 days off. There was like the Sunday before our off week and the Sunday after, and then one other day somewhere, maybe wasn't Jamboree. I don't know. It was somewhere early, and that was it. Every other day from July 31st to now,
They've been here.
They've been here.
For 5 straight months.
Yeah.
And all of them are at home relaxing with their families, and we made him come up here today on Sunday. So
That's okay.
Let's get and I imagine you didn't mind celebrating
I'm
this
all
one
right.
with us.
I'm all
So
right.
let's go to the film because there's a lot of good film to talk about here today. This first one is a Will Henderson big run that sets up a touchdown.
This is early in the game, and you're going to see here, this isn't one where Will breaks for a touchdown, but the reason I went ahead and put it on here is because it shows you how there's 2 guys that have leverage on Will right out here in the flat. Here's the first guy, and he just gets by him, and then here's the second guy, and he just makes him miss, and then picks up 22 yards on the run. That's just an incredible talent to have in your backfield. That's a guy who's able to make multiple people miss like that.
Yeah, he did that a lot this year. He
Yes.
ran, by the way, it's worth noting, I don't know if you know this or not even, but if you'd have just left him in a couple of more plays earlier in the year, he would have broken the school record. I think he missed it by, 50 yards?
It was under
Johnson.
100. So Justin Johnson, who had 3 years at running back,
Right.
and pretty much loaded him up. Obviously, 5-star All-American,
Yeah.
best running back in the nation.
He had 3,000.
Justin had him by 276 yards coming, or 476 yards coming into this game, and Will took a chunk out of it.
No, I think it was
cut it in
less than
half.
that. I think it was like 300. I think it was like 309 or something. But he he had 49 yards passing, 250. He nearly got it.
Right.
Well, not just being the MVP of the state, which obviously of the game, which he obviously deserved.
Right.
But in terms of you've never seen a more prolific season at the running back position for a guy that probably is not going to play running back at the next level.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? Let's go to the next one. Caden Tennyson's pass it to Eric Tate.
So this pass, I put this one in because it's such a high-level play. The way they were playing their secondary, there were small windows. They had a lot of guys out there in coverage, and Caden does a great job of looking off the safety and then sticking the ball in between multiple defenders. So I put it on the wide, and you're going to see. So here's Tarek, and we're going to bring him into the middle. So if I'll show you, I'm drawing. We're going to take the inside receiver, that's Brennan Webb, and run him on a flag pattern and bring Tarek under him. Well, normally you can get the safety to go to the outside, and it opens up the middle a little more. They played their safety way inside, which made Tarek have to bend it inside a lot more. They also played their backer a lot softer. And so you'll just see an incredible job of sticking it into a tight window right there behind the Mike linebacker. Valley Sports, they showed a replay from behind Caden that is just phenomenal. And you can see how he threw it before he made it past the Mike linebacker, and he catches, and just a great looking play.
Yeah, to Eric, obviously you can only pick 2 MVPs, and the 2 were correct picks, hands down.
Right, yeah.
Obviously Brendan getting 2 turnovers, we'll see more in the highlights. Obviously Will being Will and doing what he did. But to Eric Tate,
showed out.
We call him Sundays because he's got that level of talent. We've seen the Curtis Browns, we've seen the Chris Boyds come through, and then you watch him on the high school level and say, that dude's different.
Yeah.
That's to Eric. That dude's different.
Well, and speaking of that, here is another touchdown from the defensive player of the year. It nearly could have gone both ways for that kid. He's had an incredible year. This is a touchdown catch from Tennyson to Webb.
So we're down here in the red zone. They're doing a good job. They're well coached of attempting to take away our throws and make us run up inside. And so we're trying to spread them out as much as we can and stretch their defense as far as we can horizontally and vertically. So you'll see here, I'll draw some arrows for you here on this next. Let me put it on the wide. So you can see we're going to run a bubble screen to the left, we're going to run a bubble screen to the right, and then we have the option of the quarterback draw. So we're trying to split them horizontally and see what they've got in the middle. Well, they leave enough in the middle where we feel like we can go to Brendan over here on the right. Caden makes a great decision, gets the snap, throws it out here to Brendan. We get a great block on the edge by Tarek on the corner, and all you needed was that one step, and B-Webb gets in the end zone.
Yeah, I have to say this, Alan. At the state level, this is the state of Texas. Best high school football on the planet, bar none. This is 4A, and you look out there and see unbelievable high-level coaching, high-level execution, as it should be. It's the finals. But what I watched was our kids go play not only at that level, but the execution was one more level above that. It was, well, you know what? I could have gotten tackled at the 7, but then I just hit that other gear and found a way to get in the end zone. Right. And our kids did that consistently across the board.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good segue because now we're going to watch a real effort here. This is also Brandon Webb forcing a fumble.
I'm going to look at the end zone on this one as you can see it a little better. I've got Brendan circled right here. So our D-line is just battling like crazy. It's a scrum down in there with all those bodies, and they're having to fight, and they're pushing the guy. They run the dive here, but there's nowhere to go, so he starts bouncing it outside, which is where Webb comes up. And so he grabs hold, and he was explaining it to me after the game. He said, I stuck my hand in there, and I felt it move, and so I just ripped, and here it came, and he jumped on it, and now it's our ball, and man, was that a big turn of events.
Oh, that was big.
Yeah, no doubt.
Those guys had only turned the ball over twice, 6 times all year.
6 times.
6 fumbles, no interceptions. And Webb himself picked up a fumble and an interception.
Right, got 2.
First one of the year. So it's pretty big deal.
This
next one is that we're going to watch is Caden with a TD run.
So this is following the fumble recovery. We have a short field that we have to drive. We get down close, and so we're going to count on our line, moving them on this one. and allowing Caden to just run up in there. We use Will as a little bit of a decoy on the play, and then just let him hammer up inside on a counter play, and you just see him wedge up in there. I'm going to look at it from the end zone so you can see some of the individual blocks. So you'll see Jerem at center and Spencer Murphy at guard, and then Sean Wallace caving down the D-line. So here they come, and they move those guys down. And then here comes Cano on the kick out. He gets his guy kicked, and then here comes Bell up on the linebacker, and then Caden just gets right up into that crease.
Yeah, I thought
gets the touchdown.
To the extra effort spent. You can see it on the Bally's coverage. I've watched the game 3 times now and recorded it. Caden is stood up at the line of scrimmage, and his momentum stopped. And here comes Big Murph and literally bear hugs, 4 guys, and just bends everybody over. And Caden looks up, and he's 3 yards into the blue.
Yeah, he's just going. He's going with the flow. This next play that we're going to watch is arguably, in my opinion, maybe the most critical. All these plays are critical because they're touchdowns and big yardage. So that you have to have them all.
Right.
But this one arguably might be the most important thing that happened in the game.
Well, and they've scored. They had a big play. They score. So you have the momentum shift. You have the emotional letdown that we've let them score. But the ability to come back and play the next play, which is an extra point. It's one of the hardest plays of a game to give your maximum effort because you just took a dagger.
Yeah.
They just scored.
Yeah.
And Aaron has done this a lot this year.
He has.
Which is a testimony to his ability to put that behind and play this play. And so he blows through here and blocks this extra point. Just an incredible effort on his part. You'll see him get, here he goes, I've got him circled in there, and he just gets under the pads, blows through, and then blocks the kick. And we end up winning by 2 because later they go for 2 and don't get it, which I'll show in a minute. But
it's another play Aaron played a role in.
Yes.
And the AB and I mean, you said it best before this game, and it was on the Bally's, that this was going to be a fist fight that you hope a track meet breaks out.
Correct.
And that's in the trenches. Oh my gosh! I thought Carthage was a fist fight. This was an absolute battle royale on all fronts.
Amazing.
I know Webb deserved the game. Because
of the turnovers.
The turnovers and the defensive player of the game. But if you had to award one, personally, me defensively for the year, it'd have to go to Bell for
AB
me.
was a huge cog, and whether it was at defensive line or linebacker or wherever he played, he was a difference maker.
Especially he hit a new gear in the playoffs, and just went to another level.
He did.
This next one is where again Brandon Webb, this time a pick in the end zone, critical. So here they are down inside the 20, about the 15, 16-yard line, and they try a pass. He's got his guy covered. Quarterback rolls out. We're getting pressure. He throws, and it's behind him. Reaches back, just makes an extremely athletic play, to be able to saves a touchdown.
Yes, saves a touchdown and gives us the ball. Now we have the ball at the 20.
It's 14-point swing
Correct.
with the next drive.
Right.
I mean, that's people don't understand in terms of when you go back to their game against Wimberley, where Wimberley threw the interception in the end zone, and they were the benefactors by 2 points.
Right.
It's just the irony was unbelievable.
It is. That is. I didn't think about that either till you just said it. That's true. All right, so this next one is really the only big breaking run that we had. Will getting out in open space. They did a good job.
They did. They're very good.
They're very good. You can see why they're number 1 defense in the state.
Right.
But he breaks this one for 65 yards.
Amazing. He's so gifted. And so thankful for
but
his
look at this
speed.
hole the line gives him.
Yeah, I'm gonna show the end zone here in a minute, which really highlights that. This one, I just like watching the tight angle because it's just awesome to watch him.
Yeah,
it's such a beautiful athlete making an incredible play.
Yeah, the thing I love the most in watching the rebroadcast, as that happened, the Bally's guys that were announcing had seen enough where he got past the linebacker, and the guy commented, "I've done it a million times. See ya."
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Let's watch it from the back.
Right. So here's the end zone, and you're going to get to see some of the blocking that takes place. We're coming behind Cano and Felipe Rocha. And I'll draw some stuff on here for you. So here we've got 2 double teams going. On the left side, you've got Murph, and you got Sean Wallace taking care of the front side defensive end. You've got Lucas and Jerem Pilcher on the nose guard, and then you got Felipe cutting off the backside end. So those are those blocks, and then you're going to see Grayson Bates fill in the hole to take the linebacker, and watch the daylight right there. You give him that,
yeah,
it's over.
You give a 10-2 guy that kind of hole. Look at, I mean, you got to. This ought to be awarded to the offensive line. Look at this hole.
Beautiful.
I mean, what a great job they've done all year.
Hit that, made that crease, and then he's just off to the races.
Now, this next play that we're going to watch is on television on the Bally Sports, because it looks like it's a Dallas Cowboys play, honestly. It is this long pass from Caden to Tate.
Yeah.
And this thing on the Bally's, with all the sideline cameras and stuff, it is beautiful.
It is. We'd run several routes where we got to about that 10-yard area, and number 5 is sitting on it. He was starting to jump some of the stuff. So we had talked about, okay, the next time we get a chance, we're going to go a double move on him. We'll run Tarek at the same depth, stutter, get around him, and go. And that's exactly what we did right here. And they just cut it to 21-20. So the momentum has changed a little bit, and we needed to go back at them.
Right before the half.
We needed to, right before the half. We're a minute to go or less.
40 seconds.
There you go, 40 seconds. So I knew we didn't have much time, but with a guy like Tarek, you just got to keep giving him chances. And we didn't hit some of them, but we're going to keep throwing it.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, you only got to hit a few of them.
No, it's a good strategy, yeah.
Yeah, you just got to give him a chance. And so here, unbelievable throw by Caden, and he gets a little pressure. The guy gets by and hits him at the end, but I mean, you
nice
couldn't
throw.
have handed it to him. Just dropped it right in his lap. I'm going to take it to the wide angle so that you get to see. Here's 5, and you're going to see the double move that he does on the guy. The guy pushes him as the best he could do right there, but now once he got even, it was over.
What a great throw.
Yeah.
Well, I almost had a heart attack on that play, Alan, because I saw the referee throw his hat.
Right.
And I had to remember the difference between the rule and say, in high school he reestablished
Yes.
himself, so we're all good.
Right. And they pushed us out.
Yeah, we were worried about it,
Yes.
This next one was also a critical play because we blocked the extra point. They went for 2.
Right.
And had they got it, it's a whole different ball game.
Tied. Yeah, no doubt, which would have played into the very end of the game, in our decision making. So here we are. They're loaded up. They bring in 99. They're 300-pound guy, and so we've got our big package to try and match their package, and here they go with their quick dive, and look at those guys. I mean, that's 11 people on the ball.
And to
right
your
there.
point, that is an extra point after you just given up a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah.
That is the exact
Yes.
same point.
Coming
and it's like,
right
it's so
back.
crazy. You've said this all season long. You want to steal points.
Right.
We stole 2 right there on those 2 plays that wind up being the difference
That's
in the game.
difference
Now,
in the game.
I want you to walk us through. We're going to be quiet and let you walk us through these next, because this is where it gets exciting.
Okay.
Okay? So this is where the black flag steps up and makes stops, and then your offense takes over and has to drive the ball and eat up the clock.
Right.
So walk us through the rest of this game.
Okay, so we went for another deep pass to Tarek. It was 3rd and pretty long. Well, you're already thinking about, all right, so how do we want to handle this? It's too far for a field goal. It's one of those weird places for a punt. Well, let's go to the end zone, and you got as good a chance of Tarek getting it as them. Well, they picked it on the 1, which that's better. That's like
better than
punting it
punt.
and rolling it out at the 1. So we're okay. So they get the ball down here. Well, now it's critical to get them off the field. And I put 3 plays in a row here where our defense just rises up and get stops. Here we are. This is Cam Brown and then Aaron Bell running in. We stuff them for no gain. It's close to safety level area. So here they are on 2nd down. They come up. They're going to try and get the ball down the field. We stuff them again. They get about 3 yards. So here they come, third possession, and they're going to try it again. Here they go. Defense rallies, makes the tackle, and makes them punt. Okay, that's so huge to get the ball back. So now you're in a position where you're working your 4-minute offense. Meaning how do I get the game over? We don't want to go too fast, etc. So we're trying, and they're giving us a tough time. What they're doing, I'll give them credit. They're playing wide on us with all their players. They're using what we call a jag look. They have an extra DB in, and they're outnumbering us on the outside, and they're saying, okay, run it inside, and we're going to run to the ball. Of course, they got 99 and 55, who are pretty good.
Sure.
So, they're putting pressure on us in the things we can call because they're outnumbering us out wide. And so it's good game plan on their part. So for us, we're like, all right, how can we not run it 99? So we got in a set where we're overloaded to our right, which put 99 over there. Then we shift to the left so we can outnumber them on the opposite side. So by putting those guys over there, it took him to the field. Now we move over and we put Will in at receiver. And of course, we practiced this throughout the playoffs. And so now you've got our fullback in the game, which is Grayson Bates, but we got Aaron Bell in at running back, which gives us basically a guard back there at running back to give us another blocker. And then we're going to bring Will across in fast motion. It's 3rd down and 6. You're not wanting to punt right now. You'd really rather not. So here we give him the ball. You're going to see great blocks by our lineman, by our fullback on the edge. Look at Jeremiah caving in his guy. Here comes Aaron on the outside. And so on 3rd and 6, we get a big first down. Big first down. So now you're really in good position from a standpoint of clock management, and they're having to use timeouts, which is going to hurt them even if they do get the ball back. So you're trying to milk this down. All right. So I've forwarded it on down to 4th down. Okay. And this was the call where everybody's like, well, why should he kick a field goal? Should he all those things? Well, we talked about all that. We called a timeout. We discussed it. You could kick a field goal and try and go up where they couldn't kick a field goal to beat you. I also have had in a state championship where somebody blocked a field goal and ran it back for a touchdown. So, you have to factor in, there are things. What's the likelihood of that happening versus, okay, even if we don't get the first down here, we're using clock time and they're going to have to drive 90 yards, or at least, 70 or so to get into their field goal position with a small amount of time. So I felt like a more conservative call was to go for it. And once we made the decision we were going to go for it, we just had to decide what play we were going to run, and it was going to involve Will Henderson. Because that guy, he had that mindset.
All over.
He wasn't going to be denied. He wasn't going to be denied.
This is the number one play that I got to ask at church, and I know you have taught around town. They're like, the safe shot, to get the crowd, where they don't hang you from the courthouse tree, is you kick the field goal and don't risk or whatever.
But they got me a couple of years ago on why didn't you throw it in the end zone?
I know, why didn't you go for it? You're not going to win. You're not going to win. A lot of armchair quarterbacks.
You got to do what you think you need to do.
That's exactly right.
Just let it rip.
But I think this play sums up the whole season. Eric said it at the same time I said it. It sums up the season for 2 ways. And Todd and I have talked about this a lot. Number one, it was the style of coaching that we saw this year, aggressive. Carthage who? We're going at them. We're not playing safe, not playing the safe. We're going deep. We're going to and this was, number one, coaching aggressive, and number two, it just summed up the season of fighting through adversity.
Right.
Because this kid should have been down 3 times, and look at this run.
Right, wasn't going to let it happen. So here comes Will. It's the same play we ran on the 3rd down. We just didn't do the shift just because we didn't want to mess something up. We just lined up and ran it. So here we go. We line up. We give him the ball. You can see all our guys coming on their blocks right here. They're stringing it out. One broken tackle, 2 broken tackles, and then finally they tackle him at the 2-yard line. And now all we got to do is kneel on the ball. And that.
Well, I thought it was ironic, Alan, for 2 reasons. Number one, if you go back to the Carthage game, right? So, and you go back to their semifinal game, 2 points. There's so many. Your defense rises up.
Yep.
You hand it back to the offense, and then we wind up kneeling down.
Yeah.
Is that not just the sweetest of everything?
Yeah.
Because I honestly thought Will may just score. His Will going around the corner. All credit to the safety that came up and made the tackle, because had he not grabbed him and literally got him off his feet, Will was going to the end zone on that play. And I think he was going to the end zone from the time that he went in motion.
Right.
Yeah. For those congratulations again.
Thank you.
That was incredible. Thanks for sharing that with us.
You bet.
For those that didn't see it, right after the game, immediately after the game, Valley Sports came up and interviewed you. And I want to cut to that right now and let our audience see that for those that hadn't seen it, and we'll come back and talk about it.
All right, Craig, thanks so much. Coach, it's been a long journey and a long career. Third time's a charm as a head coach. Can you put into words what it's like to finally win on this as a head man?
Tell you what, it's just amazing to watch young men grow up. That's what's awesome, to watch your town rally around them, go through some of the adversity we've had this year, some of our players' parents killed, and how people come together. It's how life's supposed to be. We're blessed. Everyone in this building's blessed. We had a great day today. That was a heck of a ball game. Hats off to Belleville. Amazing job.
Do you have a message to Jeremiah Noble and his family in a moment like this?
You know, Jeremiah knows how much we love him. He's family. He is, and he knows it. And that's, you see him out here. He gravitates to his team, to his town. It's really has nothing to do with the ball game. It has to do with people. It has to do with relationships.
Great stuff, Coach.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Will Henderson. Young man is known for his speed. He's dynamic in open space, but he picked up some key third downs down the stretch late in the fourth quarter to get it done. What's it say about his toughness?
Amazing. You know, everybody, they're like, oh, he's a 10-2 guy, he's a track guy, all that. That joker's a winner. He's a winner. He wants the ball to go finish a game, to break however many tackles, to run it out. That's legends, you know, are made like that. And what's awesome is you're seeing a young man who will go do that in life. You know, he'll do it with his family. He'll do it in the community. He'll be a difference maker. And there's nothing I can do but cheer to when you see winners.
Defensively, let's talk about it. You gave up the 3 big pops for touchdowns in the first half, but if you break it down, all of the other runs combined, less than 2 yards a carry. What's it say about the tenacity of this defense to stick with it and hang in there down the stretch?
You know, against the top offense in the state in 4A Division II, they scored more points than anyone else this season. And we were giving them up at a pretty prolific rate early in the year. Look at how far we've come. What Tommy Edwards and the defensive staff have done, what these young men have done to mature, to grow, to become a state champion defense. I'm beyond words.
Final thought for you. It's been almost a decade since Gilmer was back on top. What's it mean to this community that you can deliver this for them?
It's special. You know, they're awesome. You know, go to any restaurant in town, they're talking about the Buckeyes. They're going to wear me out tomorrow, so what are we going to look like next year? You know, I'm going to tell them, give me a week or two. But that they love Buckeye football. I can't imagine being somewhere else. So blessed, honored, grateful.
You've earned a week or two, Coach. Congratulations. You are now a state champion as a head coach.
Thank you, Lord. I'm grateful.
So I thought he did a great job on the interview.
Amazing job.
Asked good questions.
Very personable.
Yeah, he did a nice job. But so we're going to let you have the final words here. It was a year of adversity. Mm-hmm. It was a year of growth. Mm-hmm. Tell us what your feelings are, if you can sum it up, now that you're not as emotional, obviously, after the game. They catch you in those Oprah moments, right?
It's raw.
Right. So now that you've had a few days, tell us about these kids, this team, your coaching staff, community. What do you got?
Well, you know, you go through a season, and each year you want the young men to get it. You know, you want them to get the message. You want them to get the things that are going to, you hope and pray, make them better men in life. And that's the reason you do all the hours. That's the reason you miss weekends at home and all that. The wins, obviously we're fighting for wins, don't get me wrong, but they're hollow if you don't get it, you know. And I know, because I've had years where maybe they felt a little more hollow. And this group, as much as any that we've had come through, they got it, you know. And I think that a lot of that is because of the adversity. You know, I think the year, like the designate year, that when things like that rock your world, they They give you an opportunity. Adversity doesn't cause growth, but it gives you the opportunity for growth. And if people will make a choice to move inward instead of become more selfish or put up walls or whatever the case may be, it provides an opportunity for a dynamic that is divine. It gives you an opportunity to know Him better, to see how we're supposed to interact at a different level. And I think that's what you could see that was a tangible difference this year. And I think it's why people attach to this group so easily, so well. So the team, the coaching staff, I'm so proud of them for when you had people popping off and saying, "Oh, the coaches are terrible," and "Oh, we're this and that, and nobody wants to work," and you're going, "I don't want to work. We're here 100 hours." I don't know what they're talking about, but anyway, there's all that, and they just kept going to work, and they just kept investing in kids, and they kept going, "Okay, well, we're not going to just do this because this is the way we've always done it. Or what do we need to adjust? What is it that we need to do? How do we shape what we're doing that fits our people the best?" Those kind of things. Willing to ask tough questions, willing to look at themselves and the way they coach, and that's a very healthy dynamic in a operation, whether it's coaching or business or any military or whatever else. And so, I read a lot of leadership books, and Navy SEALs, one of the keys, you listen to Jocko Willink, he talks about one of the keys of the SEALs is being able to look at yourself, examine yourself, and go, okay, this was good and this wasn't so good, and we got to get this better, and be willing to do that instead of just always trying to defend yourself. The coaches did a great job of that. Our community, my goodness, we live in a very special place.
We do.
And I know we're not perfect. I know that, but my gosh, you have people that have a certain realness to them, and I'm sure it's because they've gone through hardships. People who've gone through difficult things and it hadn't all been given to them, they appreciate things differently, and that when they see a need with kids here, or they find out something's up, and there's a how can we help? And they just come pouring up. The other night, the moms were here to fill bags for the guys to have in their room of apples and oranges and, a snack of fruit roll-ups and Gatorade and water, so that when they're in the room, if they're hungry or thirsty, they got something. And I mean, the whole room was packed with moms in there the other night, just stuff like that. Or, at the funeral, where G's family was there, and there's people from every race, from every socioeconomic dynamic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They came because they care and they love, and that's a special thing.
It is a special thing, and you always talk about the game is just it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's really about relationships and growing young men into men.
Right.
And so that's a cool thing, and nobody does it better than this coaching staff here in Gilmer.
it.
So,
Thank
folks, the only thing left is to congratulate you one more time.
Thank you.
To thank my partner in crime, Todd Robinson, for all the hours that you give up and the time you spend on this. And what a privilege it is to have a fourth state championship here in our town as we celebrate today. The only thing left to do, folks, is plan a ring ceremony.
Which we're up to.
We'll be doing that. So in the spring sometime we'll be doing that. We'll let you know more information about that. Thanks for watching. And, folks, thanks for supporting the Buckeyes. You guys are the best. We appreciate a very successful 2023 season. And go Buckeyes.